So every single time that we purchase a brand new product from Apple, even a certified refurbished one, whether you're in the store or whether you're buying it, brand new online, typically you are asked whether you want to buy AppleCare or not. And personally, I've never bought AppleCare on any of my products that I've ever bought from Apple, but I have bought used products before that I think you can get like grandfathered into that AppleCare on that device. So at that time, this was like 3 or 4 years ago, those iPhones ended up having AppleCare, and I will kind of break down my experience and whether it's like kind of worth buying or not. But the first thing you have to understand is that if you're buying a used iPhone, aka you're like the second owner, you will not be able to get AppleCare on that device. I believe even if it's like within a 7-day or 14-day window after you purchase that product, you have the ability of purchasing AppleCare with it. Now, if you're buying a used product, it's been like a year since you've bought that device, unless it had AppleCare for that specific plan, you probably won't have AppleCare on that phone anymore. But if you're buying a certified refurbished one, if you're buying a brand new product, whatever Apple gives you, you will basically be able to have the chance of buying AppleCare on it. Now, there's tons of different products that have AppleCare built within. You can get AppleCare for your HomePod, Apple TV, your AirPods, your displays, your Apple Watches, iPhones, iPads, and Macs. Now, for sure, I would probably tell you that if you have a HomePod or if you have an Apple TV, I just probably wouldn't even waste your time getting AppleCare with it because those devices are fairly stationary. You're not moving things around. The likelihood of those things breaking are very, very low. There can still be issues, and sometimes those issues can be fixed by just like rebooting your Apple TV, your HomePod, updating it, things like that. But for the most part, you probably don't need AppleCare at all on those devices. AirPods and these, iPhones and mobile devices are the things that people start getting a little bit more, freaked out about, like, hey, should you get AppleCare on it or not? And even with MacBooks, that's another case as well. So before we get super deep into it, we have to understand, what does AppleCare actually do? Now, this is pretty much, it's a little bit different per device, but what it is that it essentially will extend your coverage, essentially further. So there's a lot of different things that come within it. So for your Mac, if you wanted to get AppleCare for your Mac, what'll basically end up happening is you will basically get Apple certified service and support coverage. You'll get 24/7 priority access for technical support. You get unlimited incidents of accidental damage and protection, and you get battery service coverage as well. So those things are specifically for Mac, although it does actually transfer over to a lot of other devices as well. Like, not devices, but that same theory can go for your iPhone, AppleCare, if you buy that one as well. Now, for a Mac, the coverage, like I said, includes essentially fixing and providing coverage for accessories, the RAM, USB drives, if things like that don't work. Things like that are usually the reasons why most people will just get AppleCare anyway. Now, if you buy it annually for a majority of products, it's, ranges from $70 to $60, $34.99 to a Mac Mini. If you're buying a MacBook Pro, it's $89.99. If you have the 14-inch or 16-inch one, $100 and $150 for a year. But if you buy 3 years, that's usually where it might make a little bit more sense for some people. $199 for the MacBook Air M1, up to $400 for the 16-inch MacBook Pro if you're getting the 3-year one. So it's definitely quite a bit of a range there. If you're getting a Mac Mini, it's $100 for 3 years. So that might not be that big of a deal. But again, if you're getting a stationary product like a Mac Mini, it may not make the most amount of sense to get it there. Now, for these iPhones, this is another example. You're getting essentially the same exact thing for the Macs, but you are having the ability of getting AppleCare Plus with theft and loss. So you essentially kind of get the same thing as the Macs that we talked about before. So if there's something wrong with your Mac or if something wrong with your iPhone, they'll essentially fix it. But with this AppleCare Plus with theft and loss, what happens here is that you get everything included in the standard AppleCare Plus, but you also get up to 2 incidents of theft or loss coverage every 12 months. So they say each incident is subject to the deductible listed below. So it says theft and loss coverage requires you to have Find My enabled on your device at the time it is lost or stolen and throughout the claims process. So if your iPhone, let's say was stolen and you don't have Find My enabled, well then you're not going to be, acceptable in this program essentially. You can pay for it, but you're not going to be able to get another iPhone. Now, you will also have to pay $150 if you, get your iPhone stolen and you want to go and get another one from them. Well, not only are you going to have to pay for that program, but you're also going to have to pay that $150 for that theft and loss portion as well. Other accidental damage is $99, screen or back glass damage is $29, which that is honestly not that bad of a price. But these price tags can get a little steep. So depending on which iPhone you have, if you want to get AppleCare Plus with theft and loss, For monthly, it's $13. It starts at $749 to the iPhone SEs. It goes up to $1349. If you want to go 2 years of having this program, $149 for the iPhone SE3, and it does go up to $269. So that's another big thing. If you just want to get standard AppleCare Plus, it ranges from $79 to $199. Again, SE3 to the 14 Pros. So personally, this is where I kind of fall into place. I had one iPhone that was on AppleCare, I think AppleCare back in the day. This was an iPhone that I bought in the used market that just kind of got grandfathered in with the AppleCare that I talked about earlier. And I never used the AppleCare. It never came in handy. I never broke my iPhone, nothing even close to that. I truly do believe that if you put a case and a screen protector on your phone at all times, the chances of you doing massive, crazy, irreversible damage on your iPhone is very, very rare. I've dropped plenty of iPhones, I've scratched up a ton of devices, and I've never even had to call Apple to let them know, hey, I have an issue with my device. So I truly do think you can probably fall into that same situation as well. Now, I think you kind of get the idea of what's going on here, the costs and the prices, the same kinds of things, the same theories kind of go on for the other devices too, whether you're getting an Apple Watch. And I'll leave this link in the description that breaks down essentially every single, valuable thing that this AppleCare, option will give you. But I will tell you, in my experience, I just don't think AppleCare is really worth buying at all. I kind of do think, though, that if you're in a situation where you're getting a phone and maybe it's like a work phone and your company's paying for it, then I would say 100% just do it, because if there's anything that ever goes wrong with that device, you won't have to spend time worrying about it. You can just contact Apple, and usually if, again, your company is providing it, or if your school or whatever the case is providing it, then by all means go for it. Do I think it's a great value? It really depends. You have to ask yourself, do you have a history of breaking your phones, and or do you have a history of losing your phones? If you are somebody who loses your phones a lot, or you break your phone, or whatever the case is, then it might make a lot of sense, at least from my personal opinion, to actually go ahead and pretty much purchase it. I feel like there's a lot of people who've purchased AppleCare, and it's just the ease of mind. It's almost like insurance on your phone, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a pretty decent thing if you're, somebody who's really worried about your device. If you're upgrading your phone every year, though, if you plan on purchasing a new product every single other year even, then it may not make a lot of sense to have AppleCare either, mostly because you'll end up buying something like this specific iPhone, you'll spend a bunch of money on AppleCare, and then if you want to go ahead and purchase the next iPhone, it really doesn't matter if you have AppleCare or not. If you're trading it into Apple, I don't even think they look at whether that phone has AppleCare. It doesn't really go up in value. And I don't think you can trade AppleCare from one device to the other either. So you're just stuck with, you just paid for the rest of the, AppleCare on that device for that time. And now you're stuck and now you have to buy AppleCare again for the next product. If you're paying monthly, it's a little bit different, but I don't really think, at least for me, AppleCare is worth it, but AppleCare might be worth it to you. If you're somebody who loses your phones a lot and you drop them and you break them and you don't like cases, then yeah, maybe AppleCare is worth it. But otherwise, I would probably say you don't need it for the most part, but it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of insurance on your phone either. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.